What's up, everybody, and thank you for listening to Mastering the Mindset. My name is Dariusdotch, and I'm an actor, hip-hop artist, and fitness and life coach. And I'm here to personally help you train and improve your mindset so that you can, 1, become the best version of yourself mentally, and 2, gain focus and motivation to be able to take action and achieve the success in life that you want and deserve. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to my channel, and at the end of this episode, if you liked it, please share it with a friend or a loved one or someone who would benefit from hearing this message. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm ready to go on this journey with you, and that journey begins now. And what's up? Welcome back to another episode. This is going to be pretty straightforward. The title is the subject matter, and most definitely it is an important one. We're going to be talking about the 7 things that successful people do that the unsuccessful don't do. And before we jump in, I just want to remind you that success means something different to everybody. Success looks different to everybody. Everybody's version of success is going to be different. For some people, that might mean making millions of dollars. For some, that might mean graduating college. For some, that might mean being the best person they can be. For somebody, it might mean having kids and raising them into great adults. For some people, it might mean to help the world and make the world a better place. For somebody, it might mean to be the very best at their craft. For some, it might be a combination of a few of those, maybe all of those. And before we dive in, I want to say that you have to figure that out for yourself. You have to define what success means to you, whatever that means to you. So let's get it. Now, this isn't a 100% factual thing, meaning that everybody who does these things are going to be successful, and it's a guarantee. And on the other side of it, you definitely have people who become successful and they don't do these things. Life is just life, and some people's circumstances are just going to be different. Okay, so the first one on the list is 1, successful people wake up early. Now, I'm not saying to be extreme with it. I can't wake up extremely early, at least not right now at this age. Maybe when I get older. No offense to any of my seasoned listeners, but as of right now, I can't get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like Mark Wahlberg. That dude is insane. He go to bed at like 8 p.m. and gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. And yeah, that makes sense, right? He's getting 8 hours of sleep technically, but that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that successful people wake up earlier. For example, if you got to be at work at 9, most folks get up at 8. Then they got to rush, get in the shower, hurry up and get dressed, drive like crazy to get to work on time, have to eat while they drive, all that just to be at work on time. And not to mention, that's not a good way to start your work day. Having to chase the morning, right? 80 to 95% of the most successful people are waking up earlier. And I looked it up, and some of them really do get up at like 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Me personally, my alarm is set for 6:30 every morning. But the key part of this is they get up a lot earlier than they need to. This gives them time for themselves, time to themselves. Maybe to have a cup of coffee in silence or tea, to just sit in the living room and think about life, or to meditate, or to sit out on the porch and enjoy the sun coming up, right? To have this moment alone when everyone and everything is asleep and quiet. Maybe they read. And the key is being proactive in the day rather than being reactive. Do you wake up early enough to have you time? You got to be the one to take control of it. Are you watching 2 hours of TV before you go to sleep? Cut it down to 1. Are you staying up late looking at your phone? Get in bed and read. That puts me to sleep every time. Whatever it needs to be for you to have that time for you, right? Whether it's to work out in the morning or do yoga, go for a walk, meditate, like I said, pray, set goals for the day. Whatever it is you want to do you give yourself enough time in the morning to fill your cup before you go out in the world? It's not just about waking up early, but waking up earlier so you have time before the world wakes up to improve yourself, to set yourself up to have the best day possible, to be proactive instead of reactive, and especially if you need to be productive. When everything is quiet and still, those are the best times to be productive. I personally love it. So that's number 1, wake up earlier. Number 2 is they read, and they read a lot. And this is something that any successful person will tell you, especially the CEOs and the moguls and the people that are in that top 1%, the quote unquote rich and famous, the elite. They will all tell you that you need to read more. And I won't even lie, I definitely have to get better at this, and I will. I'm making it a point right now after I finish this episode, actually. And as a matter of fact, I think I even talked about it last episode, maybe the one before that. But how easy it can be to read if you just decided to read like 10, 15 pages a day, right? Imagine if you read several books a year and you kept up that habit for, let's say, 10 years. Imagine how much further you'd be with becoming the best person possible if you did that. That's going to put you way ahead of yourself, especially if you're the kind of person that's going after some kind of dream. You'll have such a larger base of knowledge, right? The average CEO reads 60 books a year. 60. That's crazy. That's over one book a week. And what's even crazier, on the flip side of it, 80% of American families didn't even buy a book last year. So if you want to be light years ahead of everybody around you and set yourself up for success, start reading more. I would suggest read nonfiction, right? And if you read the right books, right? Fiction is cool, but if personal development is the goal, it's good to also read some books that's going to help you take steps forward at bettering yourself. Books about mindset, business, personal development, parenting, health, the economy. Countless books out there. Read and read every day, even if it's just 10 pages a day. Build up that habit of reading so that once you sustain it, then you'll be able to read more. And the more you do it, the more you'll be able to read. Also, reading is good for you. Psychologists say reading helps prevent diseases like dementia and Alzheimer's. So reading helps your brain grow as well as stay healthy longer. So ask yourself, how often do you read? Should you read more? The answer is more than likely yes. That's number 2. Number 3, successful people tend to exercise regularly. And no, this ain't me trying to get you to sign up and be a part of my workout program, but you should definitely sign up and be a part of my workout program. But it's true. Most successful people work out. Now, do all of them? No, of course not. But one thing that I can tell you with 100% certainty is that there is a mind-body connection from working out that's beneficial in everyday life. Having the mental toughness to put yourself through a workout and to push yourself and to have discipline and to show up for yourself and to work out and set that goal, whatever that workout goal is, whatever it is, whether it's to lose weight or to get toned or just to have better overall health. That mental side of it shows up in life. It just does. You start to become the kind of person that can push through tough situations easier. If you constantly push yourself in the gym, you're going to get mentally tougher. You just will. No doubt about that. Also, when your body is better, it makes life better. You move better longer. You're healthier. You have more energy. Yes, working out gives you more energy. It's a proven fact. People who work out have more energy throughout the day. And energy is important because we only get 24 hours a day. And whatever time you have to work on and build something, having more energy is going to make that time more potent, to be more productive, more focused, right? So that's the third thing. Exercise consistently. How often are you working out and taking care of your body? How often do you stretch? Do yoga? Bettering your body for the future, creating that mind-body connection that pays off for you with mental strength and focus. What's up, what's up, what's up? I want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for listening to this episode and to also let you know that this podcast is 100% donation driven, which means it's completely funded by you, the listener. So if you like the content I have to offer, I would love it if you can make a donation and you get to pick the amount. I left links in the description of the video as well as my homepage. You can choose which way benefits you the best to donate. And if you need more options, please feel free to email me at dariusdotch@gmail.com. That's dariusdotch@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for being here and let's get back to it. So that's 3. Exercise consistently. And number 4, and this has been proven over and over and over again, and I definitely talk about this on here a lot, but successful people write down their goals. There was a study that was done at Harvard in the 1970s, and they did this study on these students who were graduating with their MBA. And in this study, they saw that only 3% of them wrote down their goals, only 3%. And what they did was they followed up with them 10 years later, all of the graduates, and they found that those 3% of them, 10 years later, that 3%, they were more successful than the 97% combined. Think about that for a second. After 10 years, they were more successful than the rest of the 97% of them combined. So the benefits of writing down your goals is very high. Why is it so important? Well, for one, it makes it real. It makes it physical and exist outside your head and in the universe. And let's be honest, when it's on paper, it's way more likely to be planned. If we could take things from our heads, write them down, and say, this is my goal for this month, this is my goal for this year, for this week, even if it's just a goal for the day, you can look at it and say, okay, what do I need to do to make this happen? How do I need to move my day around to plan my schedule to fit this into my life? What do I need to do? Because again, we only get 24 hours. And usually, unless your goal is to be more free, then you have to find time to make that goal happen, to put it into fruition. And you can put it down and say, okay, what are my goals? What do I need to do to make it happen? And when do I want to have it completed by? So let's say I want to lose 60 pounds by the end of the year. I want to save $10,000 by the end of the year. I want to write a book in 8 months. I want to go on a trip for New Year's. Whatever it is, take those goals out of your head, put them on paper so they exist in the universe and not just in your head, and figure out a plan to make it happen. So that's number 4. Write down your goals. Number 5, and of course, I stress this a lot, is basically the purpose or one of the main purposes of this podcast, but it's to have positive self-talk and to do it a lot every day. Most successful people become intentional with the way they talk to themselves. And I know you see it. You see it. You see some celebrity or some multimillionaire in some video on Instagram or Facebook, and they always have some motivation, self-reflective, positive self-talk, mental growth point of view. You see it all the time. And they all have the same kind of mentality when they speak. Why? Because they've done the work. Not only all the work it took to become successful and a millionaire, and the countless hours of practice and the failures and the early mornings and the uncertainty and the flat out work, the lack of sleep for so many nights, the grit, putting in all that work, doing all this for years and years and years. It takes work. Work on yourself, on your mindset as well. Please believe, working on your mindset, positive self-talk, building that confidence, it's important. Because we all know when you're working towards something, it ain't always sunshine and rainbows. You need the right mental fortitude to keep going, to not give up, to handle the pressures that come along with going after it. Think about it like this. Let's say I have 2 plants, a plant to my left and a plant to my right, and they're the same kind of plant. Plant A, I nurture it. I make sure I water it. I make sure it's in the right environment. If it's too cold outside, I bring it inside. All the things to keep it healthy. I'm being intentional about plant A. Now, plant B, I just let it do whatever it does, whatever it's going to do. I let it be. Which one do you think is going to grow to its full capacity, to its full potential? Plant A. The one I take the time, the intention, the one I nurture, the one I focus on healthy growth. Plant A is going to have a better chance at succeeding 100% of the time. And your mind has to be like that garden. You have to give it the type of nurturing that's going to help it reach its full potential. As much positive stuff as you possibly can, as much positivity as you possibly can. I can't say that enough. You have to talk positively. And when the negative pop up, absolutely. But you got to treat it like it's a weed. Pull it out and replace it with positive thoughts. You have to build yourself up. And again, this takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. You don't plant a tree and expect shade the next day. You just don't. It takes time. Some of the most successful people in the world, they work on this stuff all the time. They're intentional about it. So ask yourself, what part of self-talk or positive self-talk do you have to improve on? So that's number 5. Number 6, successful people don't worry about failure. They don't worry about failure. Now, do they want to fail? Of course not. But they don't see failure as failure. They see failure as a learning experience. They see it as falling. Because failure isn't a failure until you give up at something, right? Once you quit, then yeah, you failed. You're done. But if you make a mistake and you keep going and you get better at it, is it really a failure? If you want to be a basketball player, you ain't going to quit if you miss a shot. No, you're going to miss a hell of a lot of shots, but you keep shooting. You practice. You get better at it. Ask yourself, how can I get better from this misstep? How can I learn from this failure? How many stories do you hear of CEOs and multi-millionaire company owners, right? How many stories have they told about businesses they had that they completely failed at? They lost millions of dollars on. That was a disaster. They didn't stop being an entrepreneur. They didn't give up business altogether. No, they took a step back and said, okay, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? What did go wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? What could I have done better? So learn from your failures. Don't be so afraid of failure that you don't start. That's number 6. And the last one, number 7, is, which again is one of the most important ones on this list. Number 6 is they don't give up. They don't stop. You could put a Hoover Dam in front of them and they'll figure out how to get past it. Over it? Okay. Under it? Let's do it. Around it? Bet. Through it? If I have to. But they don't quit. They understand that one of the most important keys to success is not quitting. Most people see a roadblock and then they turn around and go home. Successful people just don't stop. They understand that it takes time. We get so used to the society we live in today that you get all this instant gratification, right? When you can see somebody on your phone and they seem like they just came out of nowhere. And now they're famous and everybody knows who they are. And you say, damn, man, they popped up out of nowhere. Now I see them in everywhere, in everything, right? And in reality, no, they didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They've been busting their ass for years and years. And you are only seeing their new success, not the years of being unknown, of putting in the work. Success takes time. And so many people start something, do it for a few weeks, months, maybe even a year or two. They don't see the success they think they should have, and then they give up and they quit. When in reality, if they would have kept going, they would have eventually gotten success. Just because you can't see the destination doesn't mean you should turn around and go back home. You keep driving, you follow the directions in your GPS, and you keep making turns. And even if you have a detour, you keep driving. And eventually, you'll get there. So that's it. How many of these will you start to incorporate in your life? How many of these do you need to be better at? Now, I know you hear some truth in these. And in reality, you should hear truth in all of these. And like I always say, I want y'all to grow with me. I'm on this journey with you. And since I've started this podcast, I've definitely seen growth. I've been putting in the work. And look, I know these can seem like a lot sometimes. Like, man, I got so much to work on. Or man, realistically, I can't do that. Or I won't do that, right? And realistically, I know that this kind of thing, it ain't for everybody. But what's the alternative? Doing the same thing you always been doing? Not getting all the things you want out of life? Not working towards it? If you don't work towards it, how likely are you to really get it? And even if you work towards it and let's say you don't get it, or you don't get it exactly how you want it, the person you become along the way is something nobody can take from you. The person you become along the way is worth every bit of it. And I can honestly say that I love who I'm becoming. I am not the same. I've grown and I plan to continue growing. And I want that for you too. So let's get it. So that's what I got for you today. If you like this episode, please share it with somebody that can benefit from this, somebody who is a friend or a family member, somebody who has goals and is trying to improve their lives. So thank you again, and let's get it in.